PlayStation.
Hot tamales, it's a jackpot! Zeus, make some new attractions!
You got it, boss. Master.
Wendy, mark up those prices. The higher, the better. Higher! Bleed them dry!
So, $700 price tag for PlayStation 5 Pro. Specs look good. It is an upscale, but at what cost? You know, it seems like a cost to reputation most of all. But let's get into the article, and I'll comment on this here in a second. But PS5 Pros come from IGN at $700. Lack of competition made it an easier decision for Sony to run with higher price. This is coming by Wesley Yenpool, and I have to say, before we get into commenting, that is on one hand. The one hand is, you know, lack of competition. But anyway, perhaps the biggest talking point for the Sony's PS5 Pro reveal is its price. At $700 and without a disc drive or stand, PS5 Pro has sparked vociferous debate online about whether Sony is justified in setting such a high price for the mid-gen upgrade. According to one prominent analyst, there are a number of factors that have contributed to Sony going for $700 and relatively even higher in Europe and Japan. But Pierce Harding Rolls, a games industry analyst at Ampere, I hope I pronounced that right, said the PS5 Pro pricing reflects Sony's adjusted strategy to protect its margin. That is, it's unwilling to sell consoles at a loss. Supply chain inflation and, crucially, a lack of direct competitor to its mid-cycle upgrade compared to last generation where Microsoft was preparing the Xbox One X. The lack of competition means it is an easier decision for Sony to run with a higher price point to protect its existing margins. Harding Rules added, for most prospective PS5 consumers, the standard edition will represent the value sweet spot. It's worth digging into this point during the last gen. Okay. But just real quick, I'll try to be fast with this, but on one hand, it is the lack of competition that I see from Xbox. You know, Xbox is taking a look at their numbers and they're at least double or maybe even triple the numbers of what Xbox consoles have sold. So I think that is a factor, definitely a factor in that. It reminds me of PS3 era, you know, where they, you know, get to a point where they feel like you're just going to buy it, right? On one hand. On the second hand, everything costs more. There's global inflation. They have to pay more for the components. And unfortunately, that stuff gets passed on to the consumer. And then on the third hand is the hubris, the absolute hubris that they feel like we are Sony PlayStation. And if we make this console $800, people are going to buy it. And that is an important point. It is not coming with a disc drive. You have to buy that separately. So it pushes it to almost $800 if you want physical discs. I think this is a combination of the three, maybe. I can't tell which one has you know, who has that top position as far as this goes. All I will say is that it's not a good thing, especially where the economy is around the world, to come out with a $700 console. People will find an alternative, and I think Sony's going to run into that. I don't think they're going to sell as many consoles now. But go ahead.
I'm not happy about it. You know, it would have been different if it was the $7 or $7.99, whatever it is, with the disc drive, with all the upgraded NVIDIA GPUs, the graphical processing unit, and all that.
Right.
Bigger hard drives, you know, already in there, etc.
And then the AI upscaling that they do. Yeah,
the AI, you know, upscaling and everything. It would have been different had that come out with a disc. But then you give us this huge price tag, tell us that you can do a disc, but it's like the Slim without the disc, and you have to buy it separate. Horrible. One, we could hardly get PS5s to begin with because supply chain.
Yes.
Then you had people hoarding them and then selling them at extreme prices.
Yep.
They're doing that with the
Scalpers.
drives right now.
They are,
Yeah,
yes.
I was gonna say, Nos told me that they have like the drives going for insane amounts on eBay right now.
And just a quick point, I'm sorry, GG, but they haven't found out whether that's a scalper thing or if it's just that a popular where people are just pre-ordering the disc drives.
Yeah.
So we don't know quite yet whether this is a scalper, the movement of the scalpers, or if it's actual
True.
hype for PlayStation 5 Pro. But go ahead, GG, sorry.
True, and I'm not sure which one it is, but
Right.
I'm just saying I feel like whichever one it is, if it's not malicious or whatever, eventually it will turn into that, you know.
Let's hope not. Let's hope
Which
not.
is unfortunate because you
Yeah.
see people being like, oh, I found a way to make money off of this, and
Yeah.
you know, because this is popular. For me, 8K, watching just the TV, like just almost made me sick. I was like, it's too much. I can't handle it. Like, you know, I'm starting to feel dizzy, queasy, my eyes hurt, and getting a headache. I couldn't imagine trying to play a video game
Yeah.
in 8K. Like, you know, like we're pretty hyper realistic just with 4K as it is.
Well, yeah.
And so like we keep pushing for better, for more, for this and that, and that's fine. But at some point we're gonna have to realize like we've hit that sweet spot. We're good here.
Right.
You know, instead of trying to one up everything.
Now,
I
GG,
agree.
We were talking about this earlier, Gigi. I think it's almost a compulsion for them at this point.
Mhm.
They have to keep promising bigger and better because what else are they going to do?
Yeah.
Eventually, they're going to be able to. We're going to get to a console upgrade where there is no visual difference for anybody.
Mhm.
So,
And I'm not gonna lie, I think we've hit that. The diminishing returns with this. If you don't, like you said, if you don't have a $2,000 TV to go along with this, you're not seeing those upgrades. In the law of diminishing returns, I think we're hitting the spot where things look good enough to where any incremental upgrade you won't be able to notice. You won't be able to notice it. Now, go
I
ahead.
just had a
Sorry,
thought.
Yeah.
Do you think Microsoft knew that?
With
They
what?
Do you
might
think
have.
that's one of the reasons why they're getting out of the physical? I mean, they haven't announced it officially, but we've speculated a few times that they're getting. Looks like they're making their way out of the physical console market. Do you think
Holy
maybe they saw the writing on the wall before Sony did?
That
Maybe.
that makes so
It's
much
very
sense.
possible.
Yeah, it's instead of like trying to push forward with technology, even though what's her name, Sarah Bond came out and said this next console is going to be the biggest leap forward in technology.
Yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't mean anything.
Right,
You-
exactly.
Quantify that for me, please. Like,
There's-
what does that mean?
There's getting
Yeah.
faster with video game load times and looking realistic and all this other stuff. At some point, there's going to be, this is good enough. This is the plateau. This is where we're going to stay for a while.
Right, exactly.
And,
Exactly right. Yeah.
and so Sony already saw some hurt with the PSVR 2,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
because it had enough differences. The only selling point for the PSVR 2 for me, and I don't already have a PSVR, was that they had worked harder on the motion sickness part of it.
Mhm.
Now, women suffer more motion sickness in VR than men do.
Yeah.
So, and I have it just playing regular video games. I had to like take years of building myself up. And so that was like a big selling point to me, more so than anything else. However, it didn't sell better.
Mhm.
It wasn't enough.
The cat's going crazy.
Yeah, he just jumped onto my son's chair, and I was like, "Oh God, please don't fall off."
There's a lot of interesting parts about this, and Fox, you said people will find an alternative, and you're absolutely right. And part of the alternative is just wait for Sony to release the same games on PC.
There you go. Yes.
This is the part that doesn't make any sense to me. You've got an $800 US console, or sorry, $700 US console, which in Canada it's going to be closer to $1,000. Plus, you still have to buy the stand because
Yes. Oh no.
You have to buy the stand as well.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
the
yeah,
stand
yeah.
is sold separately.
Yep.
Wow, Fox, can you comment on that, please?
Oh, that's right. I got it.
It's PlayStation 3 era hubris. It feels like this is what it feels like to me.
It's so silly.
I wasn't pleased when I heard about this week. I was just like, they done lost their dang minds. Like, we can hardly buy groceries, let alone a freaking PS5 Pro.
Exactly.
The hubris, like I can understand if but the part about it that I don't get is they're saying, well, part of the reason we went with this pricing strategy is because we don't have as much competition. It's like, you just don't see it, you fools.
Right.
You are
And that's
competing
what I
against
think it is.
yourself.
Yeah,
for
they
one.
are their own competition.
You are your own competition because you are also releasing these games on PC. And for the people that are not going to buy the PS5 Pro because either it's too much money, there's not enough reason to upgrade, or they don't see the difference, they're going to play your games on PC if they really, really want to.
Yeah.
So you're
Now-
competing against yourself. You didn't see the competition coming from the console market because right now it isn't there. But you
Right.
didn't see it coming from all sources because you're idiots.
they think they're
Sorry,
in competition with Xbox, and I feel like this decision was made solely with them in mind. They thought it was back in the mid 2000s or early 2000s. Is
Mhm.
what the PS4 came out in, what, 2012 or something like that, right? Or am I?
I don't
Am I
remember.
crazy?
I'm bad with dates.
I'm so old. You're lucky I remember last week.
That sounds about right.
The
That-
PS4 or PS4 Pro?
PS4.
I wanna say the PS4. It probably was around 2012. Oh no,
North America's 2013.
Okay.
no. I think it was. Yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
say. I think it was later because 2012 was different.
Right on.
Actually, released
But
later
I
in
kind of
Japan.
remember, like,
Oh, that's crazy.
based on my son's age
Yeah.
and what he was playing and
So-
when he was playing it. So
Real quick, I want you guys. We're gonna take a look at this, and I want you to tell me if you see any difference whatsoever. Right.
No.
Now, GG. Let's give it a
Now
shot.
take a look at this. Now,
Not enough of one.
Exactly. A little bit of upscaling, but no.
I'm not looking at blades of grass while I'm playing a game. I mean, if you're going to show me the disingenuous part of this is they're showing off the difference in graphics, but are you paying attention to all the different lighting elements while you're playing a game, while you're outrunning zombies?
It
No.
might immerse you a little bit more, but like again, the upscaling is just not enough to justify getting this console. It's not enough. It's just not.
Mhm.
It's, if we're
Right.
going from PS3 to like PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4, that was a very noticeable increase. But
It was.
PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 5,
You
you're
talked
not
about, you
seeing
said it
as
yourself.
much.
You said it yourself,
wasn't-
Fox.
It wasn't
It's
super noticeable between PS4 and PS5.
Exactly.
But
Mhm.
it is more beautiful on the PS5. I'm not gonna lie.
Right on. Yeah,
But you also, like, I didn't just buy the PS5. I bought a new Sony TV that also
Mhm.
helped it
yeah.
look
Exactly.
better.
So if
to
you're not
me,
willing to invest
looking-
all that money, then
Yeah,
but go ahead. Sorry, Gigi.
someone that used to like build their own computers and
Mm-hmm.
customize computers and stuff like that. It's hard for me to justify going from what we've got
Mhm.
to what little they gave us.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I think they're banking on 8K and thinking that that's going to be their major selling point. But how many people have 8K TVs?
Not many, I would assume, because the
I mean,
barrier
it
to
would have been
entry is
it
so
would have been
high.
smarter almost to.
And what were you saying, Nas, about the frames per second?
I
About
don't
how-
personally
how
pay
some
attention to that.
games-
Yeah.
Some games like probably don't go 60 frames per second.
So, yeah,
Anything
so it's
higher,
not going to be
your
a
eye probably
guarantee.
won't be able to catch it. But
Yeah.
go
I
ahead,
did
sorry,
see an
Nas.
article. Their GTA 6 developers are being asked if this game is going to be able to run in 60 FPS on PS5 Pro, and he said no. So he didn't mince words. He started off with pretty much just saying no, it won't. So what's the incentive? I mean,
Yeah.
It's funny you were saying this, Gigi, and it made me think. It probably would have been a better idea to just start off with a bundle and say, hey, you could buy the PS5 Pro and get a brand new Sony 8K Bravia whatever for X amount of dollars,
Yeah.
and kind of hide the price of the PS5 Pro inside of that
Mhm.
bundle.
I mean,
Right?
yeah, you're probably right. Like,
Mhm. So,
But for me, it would be
Yeah.
like, here's your $1,500 for a PS5 Pro and this TV. You know,
Mhm.
like
And the whole the arguments that I'm saying, well, you know, if you take into account inflation, then it's actually, I don't care. I don't care about inflation. When I'm looking at a price tag. I'm looking, how much is this going to cost me right now in today's dollars, and how much money do I have available? Yeah, okay, sure, you can make the argument that like the 3DO was the most expensive system, but I'm not buying a 3DO. That's irrelevant.
Mhm. Well, the thing
Today's
is,
dollars right now,
exactly.
what's it worth?
So, and speaking on that, we've seen this before from Sony, PlayStation 3 era. You know, they made the PlayStation 3 like $600 just off out of the gate. It was that. And from then, I want to say the PlayStation 4, it was not nearly as much. I want to say it was in the 300s or 400s.
I want to say it was $399 or $499 at
Right.
launch.
Something like that.
And then the PlayStation 5, it, you know, out of the gate was $499, and then they had the all digital for $399. And then this just comes out of it makes me feel like they're reverting back to a time where they felt like they could just put whatever out and people would just buy it. No questions asked.
Maybe they're trying to go by the strategy of fake it till you make it.
Maybe.
Except it doesn't really work in this environment.
I don't know. For me, they were,
Mhm.
and I'm just gonna say it, they were ballsy putting that price tag on it
Oh,
without a disc drive.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you know, even with a disc drive, that was still a stretch. And yes, I
100%.
get inflation. Yes, I get technology costs are more, etc.
Right.
But if you can sell a product for $100 loss, but sell 1 million more than what you originally thought, you're still making
Right.
money. And not to mention, if you can get new people in on this PS5 Pro, because you put it at an affordable thing, you made it sound super good, like the Gordon Ramsay of freaking gaming, you know what I mean, or whatever, then you would have had a lot more success.
Now, like with you saying that, like, what do you think? Okay, I had a question for you. So, as far as this, do you think they should have put this out? I think they should have scratched it. They should have.
I don't think they should put this out at all.
I think what happened was they had like a roadmap for this generation, and they didn't want to deviate from it. And the PlayStation Pro was on there, and because of that,
a Pro was a great idea, but
it's this this generation's been just so weird. You know, people haven't been able to get their hands on it until what, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
You know, 2 years after it dropped, and then
3 years after it dropped.
And then you throw the Pro in there, and it's like this generation has just been so weird. I think it needs to be extended.
Most people barely got time with
and the
original
games, they don't have enough console selling games for this console.
I mean, you could almost make the argument that the PS5 is a PS4 Pro.
Yeah, true. Oh, that's a very valid point.
Like,
that is.
Like I was telling,
you're still making games for PS4.
Yes, they are. I was telling Nos, you know, when we were first getting there, that when it came, you know, I wanted a bigger hard drive, and I already had external for my PS4, but I wanted that 1 terabyte hard drive. I wanted this and that.
Sorry, Gigi.
I got a second PS4, but I didn't go PS4 Pro. I just bought the 1 terabyte version of the regular PS4, which I still have.
Yeah.
And
I want to say, and to your point, the PS4 Pro only sold like 15 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, their Spider-Man bundle was what sold the most, but it compared to regular PS4, I saw more people, and I could be wrong because the numbers, I don't look at that, but like personally knowing all the gamers that I knew, I don't know one of them other than my daughter and her ex-fiance that had a PS4 Pro. And the reason that she got him a PS4 Pro was because he wanted the Spider-Man bundle.
Scotty, you've been waiting your turn patiently as the resident Xbox guy. What do you think of all this?
Yeah, I've been listening and just soaking it all in. No, in truth, I've been listening, writing notes as you do. But I think, and just throwing it out there, do you think this is a marketing tactic? Do you think it's a tactic to bring the price down, still a high price, but bring it down to a point where fans are like, that's a little bit better, we'll go
right on. That's a great point. They might lower the price, and it's like, oh yeah, now that's a deal. You're getting a deal, so I think I'll buy it.
It's
it's not
It
selling.
could be a tactic because you've seen stuff like that happen before.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
With other things where they got this flack when they came out, and that could have been.
yeah, because
I
these
wouldn't
guys-
put it past Sony to have been like, it's going to be an $800 console, not even having a disc. We're going to put it in 8K just to get hype around it.
Yeah.
Because what was it you said, Nos?
Mhm. Oh, what greed?
Any attention is good attention.
Oh well, not in this
Take
case.
it, get attention or whatever.
That used
But
to
they
be
could've
true,
been doing it.
but
Yeah, they could
for
have been
not-
doing
not
it just
anymore.
to spin up talks about
like-
it.
Especially
And get
before the
everybody-
internet era.
get everybody to stop talking about Concord.
yeah, because
I think it's
with
worse.
the
This is
With
a
the marketing
terrible
team.
Hail Mary.
Hey, Scotty,
That's
sorry.
because with the marketing, like the marketing is a very powerful thing, very powerful thing, and you must be really silly to just put out a console with that price, not knowing the knock-on effects of it. So I see it in a few ways. I see it right. They either bring the price down a little bit, fans think, oh, it's a bit better, we'll buy it, or it pushes fans to say, oh, you know what, I really want a PlayStation 5. I'll just go get the other PlayStation.
Right. Oh shoot.
How,
Yeah.
how much do you think would be a reasonable amount, though, if PS5 Pro was announced and you had to decide the sweet spot, where it
Yeah.
wasn't too cheap, wasn't so expensive that they're getting the reaction they're getting now? What do you think would be that sweet spot?
I want to say the PS4 Pro released with a lower price than the base PS4, if I'm not mistaken. And that's what we're expecting, whenever the Pro came out. But let me verify that real quick. Let me just not talk out my behind.
If I'm honest, and personally, it should either be £100 more than the base, or you bring the base down and you put the Pro at the base price it was originally.
That
Wow.
right there.
Here we go.
Because I think that's what they
but
did
we
with
don't know
PS4.
what. Yeah, but we
Right.
don't know what they've promised investors. We don't know what their margins are like. You know what I mean? We don't know, but like that would be justifiable, I think, because as you guys said, in the industry in terms of gaming, I feel like it has plateaued now in terms of graphics. So your next selling point has got to be, for example, games load much faster now with these consoles, much faster. They're instant. What are you going to do next? Right. So I want to create a party chat with one button. I want to have a game installed within seconds.
Yeah.
I want to stream with no lag. That's got to be like the next wave of things. Because graphics, I think, as we've just seen, that's gone now.
Yeah.
We've got to that point.
Yeah, it's incremental stuff. It's so small that you can't even notice it. But the PS5 Pro or PS4 Pro, it released at the same price as the PlayStation 4 base price, at least according to this.
It launched
this
at
right here.
$399, and at the time they'd already moved on to the PS4 Slim, and that was $299
Yeah.
at the
See,
time.
So the current
but
price for the
but
PS5 is
PS4 I think launched at $399.
the current price for the
Yes.
PS5. The digital console is $449 US. The console that includes the drive is $499.
Yeah.
I think maybe even going like $549 or even
That's fair.
$599. It's a little too much, but would have been better for the PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
But to go
$599
$200
with a disc
more?
drive
Right.
Yeah.
would have
that's
been
wild.
reasonable
Yeah.
in my book.
Right
And
on.
the stand.
Yeah.
And the
Understand. Understand.
But I mean,
Folks.
honestly, like $699 wouldn't. I think you guys were saying it earlier. Wouldn't have been bad if what it came with was worthwhile. Like if you get instead of one controller, you get two controllers. You get
Yeah.
the stand. You
Yeah,
get
yeah,
the
yeah.
drive.
Yes.
You get a year or two of PS Plus Essential, whatever. Like you just add to that bundle. If you're going to charge that price, if you have to charge that price, then load it up with as much stuff as you can to incentivize people buying it. But you're charging people $700 as to start with,
Yeah, 'cause
and
I'm
there's
not gonna
no
lie,
games that are really going to take advantage of it currently.
Exactly.
You're right. But
Yeah.
even with Xbox, like the fact that it comes with 3 months of the top tier Game Pass, like that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Noel said it earlier. Sorry, Noel. Sorry.
No,
You were saying-
go ahead.
Yeah, no, you said it earlier. I think you said they're their own competition, so they're dictating the market at the minute. It's like I don't know if you guys follow Formula One, but it's a racing sport. I don't know if you call it a sport, but
Yeah.
So if you're leading the race, you're dictating the pace. So if you go in the pit stop first, the person behind you needs to react and do something. Well, they can't do much because you're dictating the pace.
Right.
So Sony have probably seen it as right. We are the leading market individuals at the minute.
Right.
We're setting this price tag, and we just want to. Is everyone okay?
My cat jumped across, and then he saw my other cat was there and tried to hiss at him and hit him, and I just kind of went like this to him, and he's very jumpy, and he like flew like onto the other desk and knocked everything down.
Oh, I can't stop laughing.
That was the reaction of the PlayStation price.
That,
Yeah.
You see,
I found out what the price was, and then
bro, wham!
700 what?
I don't think so. That'll take away my wet food.
I actually came up with a list of people that because one thing I don't like seeing online is when is certain people attacking other people for saying that they're interested in buying it. And I don't think that's necessary. Your issue is with Sony. It's not with other gamers,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
But
100%.
I have a
95% of the way people treat other people for saying something online is
Truth.
just uncalled for.
a little much.
It's extremes. Yeah. It's extremes.
But I came up with a quick list of people that would be, I think, would have legitimate reasons for buying a PS5 Pro. And number one, if you have a, if you're not invested in the PlayStation system and you want to buy something that you think is going to be a little bit future proof, it's kind of a gamble, but PS5 Pro, okay, let's say that's option number one. Number two, I don't know, prestige, because some people, you're going to have an item in your inventory, something that you own that most people won't have, and then you can say, "Ooh, I've got a PS5 Pro." Not a great reason, but a reason, right? And banking on there eventually being a good justification for having one. Again, it's a gamble. It kind of goes back to the first point. And the last one is maybe they're spending somebody else's money, and they really don't like that person.
Yeah.